Audio.
Dynamite!
It's Dynamite!
Wednesday night, Dynamite!
So Dynamite!
This is awesome! This is this, this is that, this is this! Hey everybody, have a great time!
It's Dynamite!
I'm not one of these f***ing goof podcasters out there. I am Don Tony, Wednesday night, Dynamite! Not yet. What's up, everyone? It is Wednesday night, March 4th, 2020. Wow, what a fun night to be a wrestling fan. Yeah, you saw Team Sausage Fest complaining, always bitching. You know, I think tonight might have been one of the best wrestling nights of them all. I really can't find much to criticize about tonight's wrestling. We got so much stuff to get into. Now, I'm not wearing a jacket tonight because I jinxed myself Monday. For those that saw Monday's show, I explained that I was very ill Saturday night, and when I did the AEW Revolution pay-per-view recap, unfortunately, I had to do poopies, and I wasn't holding it in, so I was like, the last 10 minutes of the pay-per-view recap, I'm saying, okay, I have to go use the bathroom, and I could have paused it, and somebody told me, just put like a 2-minute intermission timer on or something. Go do your duties and come back. And I was like, you know what? All right, let me just end the show. Moxley won. Bye. Remember, what's that cell phone commercial? Okay, bye. Bye. I hate that commercial. Oh, my God. So anyway, I felt better Monday. And since I did the show, you know what I think it is? Because I didn't get maybe 90 minutes sleep Monday night. Yesterday, I tried to catch up a little bit, didn't get that much sleep. I promise you, tonight is going to be a 90-minute show out of here. Yours truly needs to get some shut-eye because I am still under the weather. So hot that I couldn't wear the jacket tonight. But I decided to wear this because I know a lot of you out there are anticipating his arrival, wondering if Matt Hardy is going to be debuting soon. I know a lot of you out there are fantasizing for this. Not just yet, and we don't know if that's going to be the case. And if you're not aware, Matt Hardy over the weekend, Monday he announced that he is officially a free agent. This morning, he actually gave props to Impact Wrestling's show from last night. Matt Hardy being a diplomat and, just showing that he's interested in all the promotions out there. I saw last night's Impact Wrestling episode. It just feels like there's not a lot of direction. And I think it feels like Impact Wrestling expected to get a lot more publicity, a lot more mileage with Tessa Blanchard as their Impact Heavyweight Champion. They had Taya Valkyrie take her on, woman versus woman for the Impact Wrestling Championship. Josh Matthews hitting that history bar over and over again, but you could feel something is missing. And you could see Anthem is really trying to, and I know it's WrestleMania coming up, so everybody's trying to mooch a little bit, from that weekend, and totally understandable. Again, I still don't understand why AEW did not do anything WrestleMania weekend. I get it. We don't have to go there again. But Impact Wrestling doing their TNA reunion show WrestleMania weekend, they announced today that on Access TV, starting Tuesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, March 31st, it might just be 1 week. I don't know if it's a weekly series. I tend to think not, because it's a week before WrestleMania. Well, a couple of days before, and they're going to show a special of TNA from yesteryear with all the TNA stuff. I just hope when they do that special on Access TV that they show yesteryear of the wrestlers that are actually going to appear WrestleMania weekend. Because if you're just going to show AJ Styles, if you're just going to show Samoa Joe, if you're just going to show Kurt Angle, you're not going to generate much more interest to go to WrestleMania weekend. Look, Impact Wrestling obviously has a major problem right now. When you think of all the people that have left in recent memory, and it feels like a very long time ago, when you think of LAX leaving, Pentagon Jr., Ray Phoenix, Brian Cage, I mean, there's a lot of names. That's damaging. And, you know, what do you see in replacement? So all the wrestlers there are working their asses off. But again, and I think probably the most glaring yesterday was Joey Ryan. You know, Joey Ryan with the dick flips and all that stuff, you know, that's not meant to be seen almost on a weekly basis. You see it once in a while, you chuckle, you this and that, and I know they're kind of tweaking his character, but man, when he came out dressed like the Right to Censor a couple of weeks ago, I mean, I can honestly say that in all the weeks of me trying to cover Impact Wrestling on Wednesday Night Dynamite, I honestly think the Joey Ryan discussion got the most feedback, the most emails that I received, the most comments, and they did nothing with it. I don't get it. It's something totally different. But hey, you know, I don't work for them, whatever. But hey, who would have ever thought that we would have opened up Wednesday Night Dynamite tonight talking about Impact Wrestling? For those who saw it today, we got a return to AEW. I never thought people would envision this man making an appearance again. And in case you did not see AEW tonight, the Dealer made his return. The Dealer. Do you remember the Dealer? You remember, you know, the casino battle royale, the Dealer playing the cards? Yeah. Jake the Snake Roberts. Man, that guy cut such an awesome promo today. We'll get into it when I get into the TV a little bit later. But man, was he spot on. I'm excited to see he's going to be managing. I know, you know, a lot of people out there that probably didn't even see AEW tonight were ripping on Jake Roberts on social media, which just baffles me. I mean, what do you have to do? Go out there with a machete and behead Cody Rhodes in order for him to be cool? What could Jake Roberts, seriously, what could Jake Roberts done tonight that could have been any better? You know, you got to understand something too. We're in 2020. We're in an era now where a lot of people just are so just adapted to political correctness, and they don't even realize it. You know, like alcoholics, sometimes they don't realize they have a problem, but everybody else sees it. Same thing with political correctness. Oh my God, Shayna Baszler said the S word. Tweet, 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 tweet. Oh my God, MJF gave the middle finger to a child. Oh my God. How many times have we seen MJF do that at events? I wrote this on social media earlier today. You want a great example of what tweet banging is that I have been saying for God knows how long now? Look at the MJF story with TMZ. Again, I'm focused on journalists, podcasters, and writers. They're the ones that supposedly cover everything. They're the ones that write the news of everything going on in the world of pro wrestling. MJF has been on fire in AEW for a while now. And this guy shows up at house show, an indie event, an MLW. All the people that say they watch MLW but never, ever, 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 ever noticed MJF doing this to the kids. I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong, but this guy has done that countless times since he's been in wrestling. And they all ignore it. They say nothing. But because TMZ picked up on it, because I don't have the photo with me, I apologize. But for the weekend C2E2 Revolution, some guy brought his 9-year-old son to take a picture with MJF. And I don't know if the son was wearing a Cody shirt or anything, but MJF gave the little kid a finger. And his father, triggered, goes on social media, demands an apology. He knows what MJF's all about, but this 9-year-old doesn't know what it's all about. I mean, I don't want to compare it to porn, but if I go to an adult convention or if I go to some type of movie convention and in the booth somewhere in the corner is some porn chick, even though she is fully dressed, and I decide to take my 9-year-old to meet her because my 9-year-old really doesn't know much about her, but I'm using my 9-year-old so I can meet her. And then she does something a little ridiculous with her gimmick. Maybe her gimmick is to show her, whatever it is. And then after the guy gets all triggered, whatever. Father's stupid. You know, if he knows so much about MJF, you don't put your 9-year-old kid there unless you expect something to happen. If this guy was such a tough guy, social media pussies again, if this guy was such a tough guy, the minute MJF puts the middle finger in front of your son, you know, you'd say, the fuck you doing? It's my 9-year-old son. The fuck you doing? Nothing. He's sitting there taking pictures. Then after he goes outside. So because TMZ picked up on that, you see Team Sausage Fest. Tweet, 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 writing about it, giving their thoughts. What's right? What's wrong? What's good? What's bad? This is what they wanted. They could care less when social media was not talking about MJF doing this. But the minute they see everybody else around talking about it. Now, casual fans that don't follow MJF all that closely, they're exempt. I'm not talking about regular fans. But because they see tons and tons of fans talking about it, they see tons and tons of websites. Hey, man, that is the definition of tweet banging. That's why I never commented about it. I let it sit. I let it brew. I let it simmer. And now you see what's going on. It's just the state that we're in today. So Jake the Snake Roberts comes out today, cuts a promo, a lot of little subliminal comments. What he said at the end about, you know, not turning your back. People just thought, hey, it sounded great. No, it's psychological. Jake Roberts is psychological. Is he as good as what he used to be? No, he's an old man. What do you expect him to do? He's an old man. Just be thankful that this guy battled his demons, lost the weight, is in better health. We don't know how many years Jake Roberts has left, but you could see that the guy didn't just go there today for a quick payday. He knocked it out of the park. There is nothing wrong, social media. There is nothing wrong, Team Sausage Fest, to give someone a freaking compliment when it's deserving. You may only get 11 likes out of it instead of the 63 because you make the one-line insult. Leave the guy alone. My God. I mean, it's just, I saw that and I'm like, what else could Jake Roberts? Oh, you shouldn't have been out there at all. Whatever. You're going to see me hitting this water bottle. By the way, these things are awesome. Water Vault, I get, you know, they're not paying me to advertise, but keeps the water ice freaking cold. I actually don't have any ice in here. I could leave this by my bedside for a day and a half, and it's still extremely cold. It's awesome. You should pick up one. They're on Amazon. So anyway, someone else that really knocked it out of the park today with a promo. Yes, MJF's was great too. Not taking anything away from him. But Johnny Gargano, to me, tonight, cut the promo of his career. If you did not see the segment with him and Mauro Ranallo, you got to go out of your way to see it. Gave me the feeling that I had when Mick Foley was being interviewed by Jim Ross. You know, and the only thing that was missing tonight, not the mandible claw, but Johnny Gargano, that tension. Mauro Ranallo, we know about his psychological battles. And he legitimately looked scared shit. Gargano, we have said in the past, not the greatest on the mic, but let me tell you something. What he did tonight, there's suspension of disbelief. I'm trying not to curse on these shows as much because I'm trying to land this satellite radio gig. It has some TV involved, and I got to get used to not using strong language. But once in a while, it's okay. We're not telling anybody. But A fucking plus today. Gargano's promo with Mauro Ranallo was awesome. Arguably, and I know some people may disagree with me on this, arguably better than Jake Roberts, because Gargano is right smack in the middle of a huge storyline. Jake Roberts, there's a lot of suspense as to who's going to be coming in. We don't even know, Jake Roberts, how long. Look, Sean Spears with Tully Blanchard. I honestly felt a long time ago, and I've said this, that Tully Blanchard and Sean Spears is just not working. It's not. But how often do you really see Tully Blanchard on TV? Very, very little. And by the way, I'll put up the hashtag later on. They're doing this little interactive thing with fans online where you can pick Sean Spears as next partner and stuff. All of a sudden, a lot of these feds are getting interactive big time with social media. I'm not just talking about, hashtag this and that. That's always been done. But now you got, the squared circle with NWA. You have Ring of Honor doing a couple little different things. And now you got AEW trying to. So, hey, it's definitely a good thing. I have always said you could be on the lowest food chain in a wrestling promotion. You have a connection to the fans, and those fans interact with you. Sure, not go away heat, but if you could get that connection with the fans, you're almost guaranteed a spot on the roster. Unless you are the absolute drizzling shits. You could be awesome too and never connect with the fans. We've seen that with wrestlers over the years. So anyway, since I was talking about MJF, I'll bring it up now. Here in my neck of the woods, there's a newspaper called New York Newsday. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of it before. They did a great interview with MJF, talking about his upbringing, being a fan of Roddy Piper, how he got into wrestling. He actually, where he lived was only three blocks from my aunt's house. If anybody remembers the UXW wrestling events that we did with Frank Goodman on Hempstead Turnpike, he actually lives very close to there. What was that called? Sport Time? I don't remember the name of it. But great interview. You should go check it out. And by the way, I didn't get a chance to bring this up Saturday because, yes, I had to do poopies. What was that guy in Family Guy? Remember? I got to do poopies. The guy in the wheelchair. We'll call him Joey. But anyway, that Inner Circle Choir was excellent. Excellent on Saturday, performing Judas. And there's a couple of small stories involved with that as well. And there was one woman that was in that choir, and she told a really heartfelt story online about her brother, who was a huge Jericho fan growing up, and he died tragically in an auto accident 17 years ago. And her performing Judas was like a tribute to her brother. And it's just, there's a lot of little stories online that you may, unfortunately, like I said, if you look at a majority of podcasters out there and websites and, bloggers, they don't talk about these little things. They don't talk about a lot of these federations. Hell, later on, I'm going to talk about Tokyo Yoshi Pro Wrestling. You know what I mean? Like, where do you hear anybody? We're going to talk about DDT. You hear anybody really getting into that? So it's a shame that you miss out on a lot of these little gems out there. And I want to say this before we move on. And, I want to keep this going as quickly as possible today. Once again, the crowd serenading Judas tonight. Entertaining, awesome. You want your crowd to be interactive. And tonight's crowd for AEW, beautiful. Love the interaction. And still, some people don't get it. Some people have their balls in a bunch because Jericho is a heel and the whole crowd is serenading Jericho. I have brought up so many examples in the past of heels where fans would sing their music and this and that. I'll bring up one now that I didn't even think of in the past, but I thought about it tonight. Paul Heyman. All right, Paul Heyman, we all love, this blah, 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 ECW, and, big fan. I had the privilege of meeting him a few times, but, that guy's a heel right now. He is the manager for Brock Lesnar. And when he gets on the mic, even though he's a heel, you have every single person in the attendance going, my name is Paul Heyman, the reigning, defending, undisputed champion. They all do it. I don't see these people bitching. Why all these fans? This has been since the beginning of time with wrestling. I mean, the NWO, that's a great example, Jim. The NWO, I mean, they weren't, I mean, they were badass and they were cool. Maybe that's not the greatest example, but you've had heels cut promos and the fans mimic it. And sometimes the wrestler stops because he doesn't want the fans to do it, and that gets them to do it more. Even Daniel Bryan, when it was doing the no, he was doing that because he wanted the crowd to do it more. They doing yes, no. It's reverse psychology. Let it go. I know people out there think they have the greatest one-liners, but seriously, nobody has a fucking gun to your head. Nobody's holding you hostage. Nobody's sticking toothpicks in your eyes like Robot Chicken, and you're forced to watch it. If this stuff sucks so bad, watch something else. There is 1,800 cable channels out there. Why? Why do you continue talking about it if it's that bad? Why? Because they need to be involved in a conversation with all of you. They can't accept being lonely in their house. You even see it sometimes when we do the show here. You'll see other podcasters who never fucking come over here that show no support for me whatsoever. But because the show is going on, and I'm not the only one doing shows right now. Jason is doing one. Lee Sanders is doing one. Hell, Thunder Rosa is now live every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. She's got a podcast on YouTube. I'm comfortable in my skin. Hey, I'm recorded. You could watch me on the download. You don't have to tune in live. There is so many other shows out there right now. No DQ's doing a show. Watch them. JD from New York. Joe Cronin is doing one. You can all tune in. I don't get insulted. But you see all the other people that don't. And they get lonely. Where is everybody tonight? Where is everybody? And then they go into the chat. Hey, everybody. And then that's why we all ignore them. Like, oh, now you want to come in because you're lonely? Fuck you. Fuck you. To quote Goodfellas in a little way, not go get your shine box. Now go get your fucking wine box. You fucking prick bastards. Anyway, you know what? We got to leave it with this. Nyla Rose, exclamation point of what I just talked about. Podcasters out there, journalists, they always try to hit you with the gotcha. And this is reminiscent of Mike Johnson with Triple H. Seriously, I know this is going to sound disgusting just to some of you out there, but seriously, after I heard Triple H destroy Mike Johnson on the conference call not too long ago, I literally went into the bathroom and looked down to see if I had any pre-cum on my boxer shorts. I was orgasmic to hear that. Well, again, this weekend at C2E2, we had a reporter who thought he had a really cool question to ask Nyla Rose. Short, simple, beheaded. And this is how it went down.
There's a lot of great producers in AEW, and I know Kenny Omega has worked closely with the women's division. But do you feel like AEW should have a women's producer backstage working with the division as well, or no?
How do you know we don't?
I don't. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Okay, shut up.
Okay, well, am I wrong?
You might be.
Well, who's working with you all backstage?
I don't think that's any of your business.
Well, I'm just wondering.
Okay, you can wonder.
Okay. Do you have a woman working with the women's division? I mean,
You're just going to keep talking, aren't
I'm just
you?
wondering. I don't know.
Listen, I got the belt.
Okay.
You shut up.
Okay.
Let somebody ask a good question.
Fuck you. Loved it. Loved it. Telling you, man, becoming a bigger fan of Nyla Rose inside and outside the ring. I mean, look, some of you out there think, oh, Don Tony's gone politically correct. No, this is just me being totally honest. You know, some of my views have evolved over the years. I'm not going to say certain things simply because I'm going to get more attention to it. But I love that. I didn't put that music in, by the way, Ben. That was online. I thought the music was even better. You know, it's like watching the Beulah McGillicuddy Penthouse video from a long time ago. If anybody out there remembers that video was awesome. But what was the one thing that sucked about that video? Huh? Besides it being old now, and I know it's kind of messed up to bring up now because she's a mom and everything, but there's not too many wrestling-related adult videos that I could bring up right now. And, there's a couple, but what was the one thing that sucked so much about Beulah's video? No sound. There was no sound. There was not even music in the background. And I remember when we were selling those videos on eBay 20 years ago, I think it was Mad Zombie who actually piped in like porn music to just give that extra incentive. And by the way, I wonder if people out there, a little trivia question, did anybody ever know that the NWO music originally, I don't know if it was the first place where it was found, but the original NWO music used to be on X-rated videos, at least 2. And I don't remember the name of the movies, but I remember when I used to do Tombstone Radio back in the day, and for the newer listeners out there, back in 2000, I used to have an account with live365.com, and I put all my wrestling theme music up there because I had probably the biggest collection anywhere. And I launched a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week radio station online called Tombstone Radio. And all it did was play wrestling themes 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And, it was awesome. It was awesome. I don't even know how we got on that plug, but, we're going back that far. But when I used to play the NWO music, I used to play the X-rated version of it. And it's a little bit different. But you might want to do a little research if you want a nice little laugh with that. But anyway, Dark Order, they still haven't revealed who it is yet. In case you didn't see this over the weekend, this was put online. The Exalted one is near. And I'm leaving the picture on for a couple extra seconds as I wipe my forehead, because I'm being honest. We were like, oh, that's pretty cool. He's near. Yeah, tell us something we don't know. But as we looked a little bit closely, if you could see on the bottom, it says, sitting in a dead tree. And people, were going nuts saying, oh, what the hell is that? Sitting in a dead tree. What does that all mean? Well, I did a little research, and, unfortunately, a lot of people didn't do too much research about it. But believe it or not, that is like a Girl Scout song. There is a song online called, it's Chartreuse, 3 Chartreuse Buzzards. It's a song that the Girl Scouts sing. And it's like 3 Chartreuse buzzards, quack, 3 Chartreuse buzzards, quack, 3 Chartreuse buzzards in the dead tree, quack, 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 quack. It's stupid, but it's subliminal. Now, why is that a big deal? Because if you look up that Girl Scout song, it has to do with buzzards. And there is a line in that song that says, oh, look, one is flown away. What a shame. Darn. Quack, quack, quack. So it's probably Luke Harper. We don't know yet, but it kind of feels like it may be Luke Harper. I know they got to obviously reveal it soon. God bless everybody online tonight who got suckered into I shouldn't say suckered, reeled in to that 60-day Jericho thing. Look at all of the time invested by people tonight, because at the beginning of AEW, they had that promo with Moxley and Jericho said if he doesn't lay out Moxley, he'll leave for 30 days, he'll leave for 60 days, and that was the draw to pull you in to watch the main event tonight. Oh my God, Jericho's leaving for 60 days. They're going to have to make somebody else come out. And, because next week, if Jericho's not on, people may not tune in. So they're going to have to replace Jericho with someone else and blah, 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 blah. And is Lance Archer going to show up and maybe delete. Luke, whatever. And I didn't say a peep. I'm like, you know what? Let me see how this plays out on TV. And at the very end, Jericho is not leaving for 60 days. Now, I did say Saturday that his Fozzy schedule is going to be a little interesting going forward. A lot of people don't understand. It's not like an indie wrestling event where Jericho just goes to the next town where Fozzy's going to perform, Show up there the morning of the show, have a breakfast, go work out, relax, cut a little social media, and then sing, perform, and go to the next town. No, it doesn't work that way. There is so much behind-the-scenes hard work. So if everybody out there that thinks, oh, he could multitask, he could still go on Dynamite for an hour, and he could go right back to his concerts. Yeah! I mean, your idea of multitasking is microwaving Hot Pockets, throwing your clothes on the floor, going on Twitter and watching cable. That's your multitasking. Go do what Jericho's doing. You'll need like 15 5-hour energies, So, but I loved it because if wrestling, and look, I'm not knocking those people, so to say, because if you could get drawn in that much, that you have that much time and investment, that you're pondering, oh my God, what's this? What could happen? This, and your fans say, what if? That's a good thing in wrestling. But you can't all of a sudden, I got it. You got guts. You got guts. Got guts. Anyway, Revolution had a dark match that we did not know Saturday. Britt Baker and Penelope Ford defeat Yuka Sakazaki and Riho. That was a dark match. Last week, we also had, a few dark matches as well. I do know that tonight, let me see. One of the dark matches in AEW tonight was Kip Sabian and Peter Avalon versus Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. So I'm not going to put the match result here. Maybe later on, someone in the chat has the other matches. I'm sure some of them may still be going on as we speak. So I definitely want to get into some other news as well. Colt Cabana is signed to AEW, wrestler, trainer, behind the scenes. Some people out there have never seen Colt Cabana wrestle. Colt Cabana, look, I've joked many times on my shows. I even said last week in a very loving way, he's like a slut that shows up at all the parties. It's at the, you got to go to this underground house party at my friend's house. It's at Club NWA. Oh, it's next week. Oh, you got to go to my party over here. It's going to be a Club Ring of Honor. Oh, you got to go to my party. There's going to be Club MLW. You got to go to my party. It's Club GCW. Colt Cabana shows up everywhere. It's like 6 degrees of Colt Cabana, and it's like 110 degrees in here right now. See, you could take any wrestling promotion probably in the world, and in 6 degrees, you end up with Colt Cabana being on that card. Great signing by AEW. Happy for the guy. They definitely need to utilize him for some of the podcast work as well. You already know his history, the controversy with CM Punk, obviously. But as you saw tonight on AEW Dynamite, he knocked it out of the park. And look, I even said Saturday, I said, what are we going to get? The Dark Order versus SCU and Colt Cabana tonight? Yeah, that's what we got tonight. But, I mean, the guy was spot on. And I'll tell you, I give props to AEW today because the commentators were saying during that match today over and over again that, the Dark Order are the number one tag contenders. And I'm saying to myself, what? Not for nothing. I mean, Dark Order is okay, and they're still, people are more excited as far as who's going to lead it. They're not that excited about evil Pizza Uno. They're not excited about Stu Grayson or Alex Reynolds or John Silver. I mean, not for nothing. If you watch that match a little closely today, there's like one or two of them that I hope if it ends up being Luke Harper, if it ends up being Matt Hardy, whoever it ends up being, hopefully they kick some of these members of the Dark Order to the curb. Seriously, Brody Lee comes out and he demands that 3 of these guys get kicked away. Seriously. But as far as number one contenders, why? Because of suspense, but they said it so many times tonight, it started making me think, okay, the Dark Order's beating SCU today. But no, I mean, we had Colt Cabana not only just shine in this match, but he gets the freaking pin as well. I mean, he was just awesome. I mean, everything that he did in that match was phenomenal. The Chicago skyline that he nailed at the very end, and then the Superman pin, it was just entertaining, and it caught me out of nowhere because I did not think they were going to win. And after the match, I know I'm going a little out of place, but, when I do these shows, I talk about whatever I want to talk about, so I guess we could get into this now really quick. But after the match was over, you had Evil Pizza Uno on the mic basically saying that when the Exalted One arrives, heads are going to roll and blah, 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 blah. But it was a nice opening match. Before that, we had Moxley come out. And, Moxley is on the mic, and he's basically saying to everybody that AEW belt represents professional wrestling. And if I noticed that Moxley said the word belt multiple times. And if anybody's heard Sam Roberts lately, you know what I'm talking about. But I wrote online to Sam Roberts, every time John Moxley calls the AEW championship a belt, a kitten dies. Now, if you don't know what that means, do a Google search and you'll see what I'm talking about. But he kept bringing up the belt. He even said that the AEW belt was never Jericho's belt. It's not even his belt. The AEW championship belt is the fans' belt. So, Mr. Moxley, I thank you. So, it's everybody's belt. By the way, I'm not going to start being a goofy mark with title belts and stuff like that. Look, there are some serious collectors with belts that I have nothing but respect for. I mean, that is just a beautiful display to have that. But for me, I'm not a belt collector. That will be given away in the near future to somebody out there. It's not a belt, it's a title. But, the back and forth at the beginning was fun. I will say this, the Inner Circle now saying they're going to put everybody on notice. They don't care if it's the Librarian. They don't care if it's Michael Nakazaka. They don't care if it's Moxley. They're putting everybody on notice. Okay, fine. Everybody's putting everybody on notice. The triple death. What was that earlier today with the Lucha Brothers and Pac? I have it right here. It was the Death Triangle. The Death Triangle. They put AEW on notice as well. So what's going to happen? We're going to have the maybe the Death Triangle goes at it with Santana, Ortiz, and who could go good with Pac? I mean, I would say Guevara too, but they're not going to do that. It's heels and heels. Yeah, the AEW podcast is pretty good. I put it over last week. It's not bad. I mean, for only 2 episodes, it's good. And Aubrey Edwards, I said it last week. She is a big fan of pro wrestling, and she gets in some little comments that that she's been following wrestling for a very long time. And Herbert Doherty, thank you very much, my friend. Thank you for your service. Much, much respect from here. I should be sending you something on Super Chat. So, seriously, thank you. But, so AEW, we have the Jericho confrontation with Moxley earlier. That set up the tag match later on in the night of Darby Allin and Moxley versus Jericho and Guevara. I have one problem in that match. I guess I could bring it up now. Before the match even started, Moxley is coming down the rampway. He's attacked by 3 masked. They're trying to play off his fans. And I didn't know any fans that had that AEW jacket. I thought that jacket was pretty cool. I wouldn't mind having one. But they're attacking Moxley in the rampway, where the fans are, where he always comes out. And they end up rolling into the concession area. Unfortunately, we had no Dippin' Dots boots over there. But they're beating up Moxley pretty good. They reveal the mask to be Santana, Ortiz, Jake Hager. And they're leveling Moxley, taking him out. Match didn't even start. And as I'm watching all of this, all I keep thinking to myself is, where's Darby Allin? You're playing with your fucking skateboard at ringside? You're watching on the goddamn screen your partner getting his ass kicked for 30 seconds. 1 minute. 2 minutes. 3 minutes. Skateboard your motherfucking ass to try to make... And look, I'm talking storyline here. That was AEW that did not tell Darby, go. So please, this is not Darby Allin's fault. Again, this is entertainment. It's not real. I don't mean it like that, but my point is, I see people on social media ripping Darby Allin. Hey, you stupid. Go after and help your partner. Or what are you supposed to do? Hey, Tony, is it okay? Thought that was stupid today. How AEW could let if anything, you don't have Darby Allin come out yet. And I understand you don't want Allin to come out after the champion is announced and this and that, but there was ways to go around it. Or maybe, Darby Allin gets leveled out by Jericho or something, or he's laid out. Maybe Guevara and Jericho just lay him out, and that prevents him from trying to help his partner. They should have showed Darby Allin try to jump the guardrail, get hit by Jericho and Guevara with a chair, a belt, a skateboard, whatever, a sign, I don't care, and lay him out. Lay him out. And then he's like, okay, that's why Darby Allin could. But unless I missed something, I didn't see that. But the match was fun. A lot of us, I've been saying for a while now, Darby Allin is going to be a star. Guevara is going to be a star as well. You look at when AEW first started, 6 months ago? And you look at now, and I said on an upcoming episode, I'm going to take the whole AEW roster, person by person, and I'm going to basically, in my opinion, say that from the beginning of AEW, whose stock has gone up and whose stock has gone down. And believe me, if you actually look at that roster closely, you'll see quite a few names who you feel their stock has gone down, but some stock has really gone up. And Darby Allin is definitely one of them. Super over. You do not give him a heavyweight championship title this early in the game. But I have said this about 2-3 months ago. I'll keep saying it. I think we will have one in the very near future. AEW's got to have a secondary title. I don't care what you want to call it, the TV championship, light heavyweight, call it whatever you want. But they need a secondary title. You need someone to have a couple of those title changes on TV with the secondary title. You can't have it right now that the only way you could get a title other than Jericho's is either fighting for the women's title or a tag title. They need that secondary title, and they need to do it soon. I know they announced that double ring, blood and guts for Newark, New Jersey, and to be honest with everybody out there, I might go, I might not go. The thing is, my birthday's 2 days later, and there's a wrestling event the day after that, and I was invited to go, and I'm trying to go. Not only that, my engagement dinner is April 11th, and then I'm going away the following week. So there's a lot of things coming up in that 3-week span, and to be honest with you, I don't want nothing for free from anybody out there. But again, when I had my stuff booked for Chicago, for C2E2 and AEW, and, I wanted to get like a press pass for AEW so I could actually cover some of this stuff and maybe even stream live. I mean, I do have portable equipment that I was going to take with me. In fact, when Mish was still living in Chicago, we had this plan on getting together and doing that. And I got no response from nobody in AEW. I had someone actually, look into a few things. No response whatsoever. Fast forward now to Newark. And, I had someone look in. Now, this person I trust. And this person said to me, he's like, look, I tried to get in touch with blah, 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 and nobody's gotten back to me. Now, this is 2 times in a row. So I'm not trying to be an asshole, but I'm not going to take my money, my time, and go all the way to Newark, kill a night, not be able to do the show, and dump money into their event. I buy their pay-per-views. I buy their stuff. I give honest opinions. Not everything is politically correct, and not everything is positive. But, to get so, hey, you don't wash my back, I don't wash yours. If that even makes sense. But anyway, QT Marshall coming out with Brandy. And, I said this earlier as just for thinking. I said, just think how Team Sausage Fest would react if the Exalted One would be revealed as a female. Now, tonight, Evil Pizza Uno said he will not be happy. So it's a guy. It's probably a guy. I don't think Evil Pizza Uno is good. And look, let me make this clear. I'm not trying to be Jim Cornette when he does his, Joey Nutella stuff. I call him Pizza Uno jokingly because when he came out that one time, his tits were jiggling. And I just thought it was funny. And for some reason, I thought of Pizza Uno, because Pizza Uno is a famous restaurant in my neck of the woods. In fact, when I used to hang out with my friends 20, 25 years ago, we used to go to Pizza Uno and have a great time. I have nothing but fond memories of Pizza Uno. So when I call him Evil Pizza Uno, I say it jokingly. I don't say it to be malicious in any way. And believe me, I shouldn't talk because I think my tits are still jiggling. They're jingling, baby. Go ahead, baby. But QT Marshall comes out with Brandy and Dustin taking on Jake Hager. Jake Hager beats QT Marshall in about 3 minutes. After the match is over, we had Santana and Ortiz have a run-in. Originally they said the Young Bucks weren't there. I don't think so. Then they're trying to play off, that Matt Jackson. He comes out, and then Hangman Page comes out, has his beer, puts it on the corner post. People are wondering, Jim Ross trying to plant that seed. Is Page, whose side is he on? Page then levels Santana or Ortiz, and he still has a lot of beef with Matt Jackson, gives him the finger, and walks off. But again, props to AEW for doing a U-turn, or I don't want to say U-turn, but taking the detour with Hangman Page. I know, in wrestling, even just life, social media, going on the computer, the internet, we're in an era of immediate gratification. You don't know this, I could Google it. You're a little lonely, porn XS, whack, 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 done, 30 seconds later. Oh, I need to do this, 5 seconds later. Oh, I need this, I can order it 1 minute later. Instant gratification. Need everything now. I want my money and I need it now. So in wrestling, storylines, when's it going to happen? It's like an annoying kid in the car. Are we there yet? 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 Did Hangman Page turn yet? Did Page turn yet? Did Page turn yet? Did Page turn? So kudos for AEW for keeping it so interesting that fans don't mind waiting. Because I don't think AEW, Hangman Page is very talented and he's over. I don't think AEW ever expected for him to have this type of connection with their fans. And it would be dumb to turn him heel on the fans right now because you don't have too many wrestlers that have that great connection in that company. Sure, you got some heels and some others, but to have that connection like that, that's awesome. So to keep the storyline going, but immediately have Page exit the ring and go drink with the fans, it's excellent. Excellent. So next week we have Cody versus Ortiz. We have the Death Triangle in action of the Lucha Brothers and Pac. We have an announcement about Blood and Guts. Too bad they didn't crown like a secondary champion in that Blood and Guts deal. Jurassic Express versus MJF, the Butcher and the Blade. MJF cutting another great promo today. Wearing the I Pin Cody shirt. Went from protege to prodigy. And he doesn't care if it's Moxley or Jericho. And he even said he doesn't even care if it's Timbuktu from South Peru, that he's going to be World Heavyweight Champion one day sooner than later. So I'm telling you, from top to bottom today, AEW was solid. We didn't have too much as far as women's wrestling goes. We had Big Swole. Leva Bates still, look, not every single person can, be, how do I say this in a nice way? You can't have every person having extreme talent. Some people are just meant to be squashed. The Big Swole Leva Bates thing, the match went as long as it needed to. The Britt Baker stuff, it just felt like, oh, we haven't done anything with Britt Baker for 2 weeks. Let's bring her out and let's have her in commentary. I think Tony Schiavone asked her like 2 or 3 times, what do you think about Big Swole? And it just felt like, did you go over this before you came out to ringside? she like really, and you hear like Tony Schiavone trying to like walk her through, like, she's an inspiration, this and that. It was not good. It was not good. The Britt Baker stuff was absolutely unnecessary today. It just felt like I said, that, oh shit, we haven't used her in 2 weeks. Let's bring her out. Bring her out. Didn't like it. And by the way, that hashtag, try to find Sean Spears a tag partner. It's hashtag search for Spears. Search for Spears. Finally, Pac beating Chuck Taylor, as I said earlier. We have him aligning himself with the Lucha Brothers. I mean, you could see this clear as day. I mean, next week they should be facing Best Friends and Orange Cassidy. I don't need to reiterate Orange Cassidy. I think I got into it quite a bit on Saturday's show, the pay-per-view recap. Orange Cassidy, for those who never bothered to look to see what he's all about, now you'll get a better taste of it on AEW Dynamite. So from top to bottom today, I thought the show was extremely solid. NXT tonight, solid as well. But once again, you have matches that are dragged out extremely long with not a lot of really memorable moments. That doesn't make it bad. But, when you think about, the opening match today, Tegan Nox versus Dakota Kai. It was a fun match. When it opened up, you had dueling chants by the fans. At one point, you had Dakota Kai doing an awesome dive off the top of the cage. And, it was very physical. The only thing I didn't like about it was the week before, when William Regal announced the cage match and how Regina Gonzalez was not going to be a factor. And then when Regal walked away and they had this look on their face, kind of like when a podcaster realizes that nobody liked this tweet, be like they had this big disgruntled look on their face, like, oh, Regal just screwed us. Why was Regina Gonzalez allowed to remain at ringside? Suspension of disbelief, storyline-wise. I mean, basically what this match was, it was a hard-fought brawl in the cage, but in the end, Regina Gonzalez gets involved in the match. She's trying to prevent, Tegan Nox from getting out of the cage. And Dakota Kai, she's trying to get out of the cage. At one point, Regina Gonzalez had the door, and somehow Tegan Nox got the door and kicked it. And, Regina Gonzalez just backed out of the way, and Dakota Kai got nailed with it. It just looked really, really sloppy. The very end was good when Regina Gonzalez opened the door completely and basically blocked Tegan Nox from getting out of she tried to climb over the cage and she was trapped. So Dakota Kai ends up leaving the cage and Dakota Kai gets the win. It was not a bad match, but it went to almost 8:30 in the evening. When you think about everything that went down in AEW up until 8:30, it's hard to spend that much time, on that cage match. It was solid. But there was, I say this almost every week, there's 2 matches in AEW that go extremely long that really don't need to go that long. When you think about their match at NXT TakeOver, it was shorter. And sometimes less is more, but that's what we got. You then had a very intense promo. Regina Gonzalez, they're the same names, Nick. Don't try to be a little troll over here. All right. The thing is that most people out there don't even know her from a year and a half ago. All the experienced podcasters that follow NXT when she debuted at the pay-per-view. Oh, that looks like Sonya Deville's sister. Who is that? Yeah, you follow NXT. So I know her from the year and a half leading up to this, and maybe even longer than that. So anyway, awesome promo by Finn Balor talking about Imperium. And Walter versus Finn Balor, I think this is going to be maybe a top 10 match of the year. You could feel that coming. And Balor's promo tonight was intense, right to the point, and it was good. Next, we had Chelsea Green beating Shotzi Blackheart in a very short amount of time. Very sloppy, unprettier, in my opinion. And, you know, right there, we're almost halfway through the show. But the big buzz today, if you haven't seen it, I got it. This showed on the TV screen. I could drink my water for a minute. See the hourglass tick-tock? Now, you see the blonde hair? A lot of people think that this is just for Killer Cross. But I think that this might be for Killer Cross and for Scarlett Bordeaux. This aired during NXT today, and a lot of people are thinking that they're now starting to tease their debut in NXT. Definitely looking forward to it. Not many other people who are on the back burner that we're excited to see enter. I know a lot of people out there were today, oh my God, the Iconics are backstage at NXT. Oh, they're going to be on NXT tonight. I'm like, oh God, please no. Just because somebody's backstage doesn't mean they're going to be on TV. Yeah, your sources are, yeah, okay. But I don't think that promo was for the Iconics debut. But that aired, and that opened up a lot of discussion today, and it should. It's going to be really interesting. Next, we had a video of Rhea Ripley at Raymond James Stadium, where WrestleMania is going to be taking place. A very nice package. I think if you want to criticize that package at all, they kept showing the banner in the background of Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte. And I know a lot of you out there, including me, would not mind to see Bianca Belair added to that match. The fact that they did that whole promo package and kept showing Charlotte and Rhea in the background tells me that there's probably no chance of Bianca Belair being in that match. And that's a shame. But it was still a nice video package. It just gives you a reason why, you know, Rhea Ripley is so well liked by everybody, very well respected, and still very young. Next, we had another match that, to me, I'm sorry, it just did not keep my interest. Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, Undisputed Era, beating Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. You know, it was okay. You know, after the match was over, you know, basically they're calling out Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne. Don't know, you know, if that's going to amount to anything. Next thing we know, James Drake, Zach Gibson, they get involved. And, you know, I understand, you know, when you have up-and-coming stars and when they're young and they haven't been around all that long, like people don't know who they are and you got to start from somewhere. But unfortunately, there's some people they keep throwing out there and it just does not seem to be clicking. Case in point, Cameron Grimes. I mean, Keith Lee comes out, cuts his promo, and he's interrupted by Cameron Grimes, and the crowd is chanting, "No one likes you." And I'm sorry, I don't know how the NXT live crowd feels inside about Cameron Grimes. But I'll tell you how I feel about it. I go and do other things when he's in matches. It's nothing against him personally, but Cameron Grimes, it's not connecting. It's not clicking. And, you know, he comes out, he wants to challenge Keith Lee. He's telling Keith Lee, don't talk about Damian Priest, don't talk about Dominik Dijakovic. You know, and the crowd is just getting under Cameron Grimes. And I think the fans, my feeling is that they just don't care too much. And he's talented. But unfortunately, there are very talented people who are not entertaining. And at the end of the day, this is a form of entertainment. So, you know, it did not connect with me. So he's going to fight Keith Lee. He ain't taking the title off of Keith Lee. And, you know, WWE sees something in Cameron Grimes, and I don't want to see the guy released. But unfortunately, when you have the Undisputed Era match that, to me, did not keep my interest, and then you have Cameron Grimes coming out there, I'm not interested in. You know, you got those little lulls where, you know, again, this is why a lot of times with this Wednesday Night War stuff, I think it's a little unfair because WWE, you could see that, let me put it this way. Yes, they had some WWE interaction because it was leading up to Survivor Series. I'm talking Raw and SmackDown. Yes, you have a little bit of Raw and SmackDown interaction now because it's leading into WrestleMania. But ask yourself this. If AEW Dynamite never debuted on TNT, is it safe to say that almost everything that you have seen on television for WWE NXT probably would have aired anyway? You know what I mean? Does it feel like anything has tremendously changed since they've gone up against AEW? Maybe format, maybe match placement, but it seems like almost everything that we have seen on television would still have aired even if AEW wasn't around. Just an opinion. You know, I don't know how you all feel about it. But next we have Austin Theory beating Isaiah Swerve Scott. Not a bad match. Pretty quick. I think a lot of fans want to see Isaiah Swerve Scott. There's a guy that you kind of feel needs to go to the next level. He's got something, and he's still very, very young. So there's no rush, but at the same time, Austin Theory, you could see that guy's going to be a star. He needs more seasoning and more time, but you could see. It reminds me a little bit of Angel Garza about 7-8 months ago. That you agree with me? 6 months ago, like it just feels like he's on that same path. It almost feels mirrored to me. Of course, Angel Garza is more like the heartthrob and this and that, but you know, I just see that. Then we got Mauro Ranallo with Gargano. I opened up talking about it. I don't really need to add to it, but you know, Gargano is bringing up that to Mauro Ranallo that Gargano was the only person to show up at the red carpet premiere of Mauro Ranallo's documentary. I don't know if that's true. If that's true, that's fucking terrible. But whatever. Then, you know, Johnny Gargano is talking about, you know, his relationship with Gargano, talks about, you know, why he did what he did to Ciampa. And then he brings up that Mauro Ranallo called him Johnny Turncoat and a few other things, and Gargano's getting freaking pissed. And Mauro Ranallo is getting scared shit. It sold me. I said it earlier, and I'll say it again now. To me, possibly his best promo ever. I mean, I've been following Gargano for a while now, and I honestly don't ever recall Gargano cutting a better, intense, just like real. I mean, he knocked it out of the park. And yes, this was pre-recorded, but still, it was just spot on. It was perfect. Go out of your way to see it. Trust me, go out of your way to see it. Now, I purposely did not talk about Jake the Snake Roberts again until now for a particular reason. And that's because of the promos. You know, when Jake the Snake Roberts came out, you got to understand something. Gargano's promo is because he's in a feud with Ciampa. He's trying to get himself over as a major heel. And, you know, Gargano is notorious of being talented, you know, but more of a baby face, but, you know, it's not all that So that promo by Gargano really strengthened him as a heel. Jake the Snake Roberts, this is a legend coming out. This is someone who is all about psychology. And when Jake the Snake Roberts comes out and he confronts Cody, because for those who didn't see Dynamite, Cody comes out cutting a promo, basically saying that MJF cheated and blah, 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 blah. And, you know, if the only way he'll accept MJF's win is if MJF comes out, looks him in the eye and says he beat him fair and square. Jake the Snake Roberts comes out and says, you know, he never cried and bitched in his career. You know, you got your ass kicked. Man up. He talks to Cody. Then he starts calling Cody Mighty Caesar. And listen, I know a lot of people out there think that Jake the Snake Roberts never had any interaction with AEW. And yes, he had that promo, with the Casino Royale, but he also did a couple of little segments with Shivani leading into Fight for the Fallen. He's been on Jericho's podcast. Jake Roberts has been around, but we haven't seen him cut anything remotely to not only fill with meat and potatoes, but long, not stumbling, just really, really acing it. And you had to pay really close attention because the Mighty Caesar stuff, that reflects social media when everybody calls Cody, like Jesus and all this other stuff. So that's basically where that's coming from. And he said the dark side is coming to AEW. And, he got into a few quotes. I wrote a few of them down. He says, once my roots have taken hold, I will be like a phoenix rising from the ashes. And he called Arn Anderson a one-trick pony. You could bring him if you want. He says, what a snake wants, a snake gets. And the best part of Jake's promo was the very end. Because we all know the phrase, keep your friends close and your enemies right by your side. We all have heard that before. Well, what Jake said tonight was never turn your back on someone you respect or you're afraid of. So what does Jake do? People, I think some people out there didn't even pick up on this. Jake Roberts just said, never turn your back on someone you respect or you're afraid of. He immediately turns his back on Cody, which basically says he's not afraid of Cody and he doesn't respect him. And he throws the mic, Cody catches it. And it was awesome. It was from beginning to end. I honestly, for the life of me, don't understand how anybody out there could criticize that. Sure, he's older, but my God, is there anybody else in wrestling that could cut really intense promos like that? Is Jake Roberts going to be able to cut a promo like that again? Probably not. But the point is, it was awesome. Just enjoy it. It's one fucking episode. So anyway, so you understand why Gargano's promo is important for Gargano's career and his current feud with Ciampa. Jake Roberts' promo is really to build up somebody coming in. Now, I know a lot of people are thinking Lance Archer or someone else. Whoever is coming in, maybe doesn't have the household name value. And maybe a lot of you out there follow New Japan. Maybe you follow other promotions as well, but quite a few people do not, even though they claim they do. So if you bring someone out there that doesn't have the household name value, having Jake Roberts build it up and build this storyline, I mean, what do you want? You want just another black screen pop up when Cody's in the ring and, the dark side is coming? People immediately say, oh, this is more freaking Dark Order stuff, So to have a guy on the mic, basically disrespecting Cody, and Cody's not going to lay out Jake Roberts. I thought it was very important. So each one of these two promos did their job in more ways than one. So main event time NXT, you had Roderick Strong taking on Velveteen Dream. Roderick Strong's wife, Marina Shafir, is ringside. Fun match. It went a while. And early on, you have Marina Shafir throw a kendo stick, shoved it through the cage for Roderick Strong to use. You didn't have too many weapons get involved in this, but basically, towards the end of the match, when Velveteen Dream was getting the upper hand, trying to climb over the cage. And this, to me, it was okay. At some points, it was a little sloppy, but I really couldn't complain all that much. But in the end, you had the Undisputed Era come out. They're teasing that they're climbing the cage. Now, one point that confused me is Velveteen Dream was near the top of the cage. And you basically had Undisputed Era come out. Velveteen Dream is on top of the cage. Now, how many times when you watch wrestling on TV, somebody climbs the top rope, there's some people on the outside, and instead of diving in the ring, they decide to dive on the outside. So suspension of disbelief and storyline purposes, why didn't Velveteen Dream just jump onto the Undisputed Era? He would have hit two birds with one stone. He would have won the match and he would have taken out the Undisputed Era, but he didn't do either. So, you know, you have Velveteen Dream at the top rope. You have Undisputed Era come out. Velveteen Dream, instead of just diving over, he goes back in the ring. He's standing on the top rope. He's super kicking the cage where their hands are to knock them off the cage. And, they're on the outside. And Adam Cole in the process is climbing the cage and gets inside. Greg, do we have trolls in the chat that I need to block, by the way? If there's any trolls, let me know and I will get rid of them. 1, 2, 3. But I don't think so. So anyway, Adam Cole, as Velveteen Dream, is trying to knock the other members of Undisputed Era to the floor, Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish. Adam Cole gets in the ring. So Velveteen Dream gets the upper hand. He's looking inside the cage. He's got Adam Cole on one side, Roderick Strong's on the other side. Roderick Strong tries to exit the cage. Velveteen Dream prevents him. Cage opens, cage closes. All right. Then all of a sudden the cage door opens again and Velveteen Dream decides to throw Roderick Strong out of the cage and match is over. Roderick Strong gets the win. So a lot of us, I thought maybe, because I know we've had some bots in the chat, so I am basically at the helm now because, some people that were helping me out, suddenly aren't around anymore. So I'm going to basically be at the helm of this. I have somebody in particular. I know Mish is not around tonight, but I have somebody in particular who's going to be helping me moderate in the near future. But tonight, I'm at the helm. But anyway, getting back to the match. Velveteen Dream throws Roderick Strong out of the cage. People are like, why do you do that? He closes the door, handcuffs the door closed. Now we get it. Velveteen Dream wants to beat the crap out of Adam Cole. He sees bigger and better things ahead. And he could run the cage match, but instead he gets rid of Roderick Strong, closes the cage, handcuffs it, so it can't be opened. And now you got Adam Cole and Velveteen Dream in the cage. Velveteen Dream uses a chair, knocks him out. Velveteen Dream grabs the belt. He's on the top of the cage, and we go off the air. So it was not bad. It really was not bad. A little sloppy, but still a good way to close out, this edition of NXT. Look, you have a lot of players that could fight for the AEW heavyweight title. If you really think about it, you got Ciampa, maybe even Gargano. You got Balor. You have several. I mean, Keith Lee's the champ as well, but he's not going for the heavyweight title right now. Dominic Dijakovic. This is one thing I like about NXT. You could probably name 8 guys that if they were AEW heavyweight AEW, if they were, well, maybe AEW too, but if they were NXT heavyweight champion, I don't think anybody would have a problem with it. That's one thing that NXT has going for themselves. Literally 8, and it might even be more than that. So to put Velveteen Dream at the top of that right now is very interesting. I'm still convinced that we may have like a 4-way or a 6-way at WrestleMania for that NXT Heavyweight Championship. But, right now, something's got to develop very, very soon. I still think the Undisputed Era have to start teasing a breakup. Not saying that they need to break up, but I think we have to start seeing some teasing going on. So, but that's how they went off the air. I think from top to bottom tonight, I liked AEW more. I think AEW wins in the ratings again. I know last week was a little disappointing that the ratings went down leading into the Revolution pay-per-view. The ratings last week were a little odd. I think AEW definitely wins this week again. And Roderick Strong and Velveteen Dream in a cage to close out NXT, I don't know how strong that actually is for the casual fan that tunes into Wednesday night. So I'm going to say AEW scores, I'll say 800 and... I've been really close lately. I'm going to say 881,000 viewers. NXT, I say 737. I think the gap broadens even more. Just my opinion. But we will see very, very soon. Now, let's get into a couple other tidbits, and we could get out of here. Already going, 75 minutes? So I definitely want to get out of here quicker, sooner than usual. AAA, they're going to be having an event coming up on March 13th in Tijuana, Mexico. It's AAA versus MLW. I just want to give you the card because, no, not a lot of people listening are going to be in Mexico, but this is something you may actually want to see online because it is going to be streaming. You have Los Parks versus Psycho Clown, Psicosis, and Nino Hamburguesa. I think that's how you pronounce him. Hio del Viquino, Misteus Jr. and Octagon Jr. versus Injustice for the AAA tag titles. You have Alex Hammerstone versus Laredo Kid for the MLW National Openweight title. Tom Lawler and Dominic Guarini versus Extreme Tigre and Puma King. In a Tijuana street fight, Savio Vega and Mance Warner versus Pagano and Mortiz. Davey Boy Smith Jr. and Brian Pillman Jr. versus Texano Jr. and Rey Escorpion. And Porta de Norte versus Black Destiny, Fantastic, and Rayo Star. Wow, I got all the names right. I'm pretty proud of myself for that one. I want to mention this promotion because something tells me, number one, I think a lot of you are going to be in Florida WrestleMania weekend. And number two, you may have never even heard of this promotion before. But there is a promotion that is going to be having an event, WrestleMania weekend, in Florida. And one of the matches that they just announced is Thunder Rosa versus Shoko Nakajima. And it's a promotion called Tokyo Yoshi Pro Wrestling, TJPW. And for those that don't know much about it, it's been around, I think, since 2012. Right now, Thunder Rosa is the International Princess Champion. They also have Yuka Sakazaki. That's a name some of you have heard before. She is the current Princess of Princess champion. And you have Mayu Watanabe and Rika Tetsumi. They are the current Princess Tag Team champions. Now, they're going to have an event Friday, April 3rd. Doors open at 10 a.m. and the show starts 11 a.m. And it's going to be at the Ritz at Yarber City. Isn't that the same place where Impact Wrestling may be having their event? I think so. But I'm just preparing you because a lot of these wrestlers are coming from Japan. Plane fare expensive. Hotel expensive. Travel expensive. Front row tickets are sold out, but you could still get second row. Get ready for this. $80 a ticket. Third row is $70. Fourth and fifth row is $60. Sixth and seventh rows are $50. Standing room only, $35. But they have advertised already Thunder Rosa versus Shoko Nakajima for the International Princess Championship. For the Princess of Princess Championship, Yuka Sakazaki versus Su Young. I know a lot of you have heard of her. The DDT offer match of Kanosuke Takashita versus Yuki Ueno. And they're also advertising Rika Tatsumi, Mayu Watanabe, Mayu Yamashita. I'm getting good with my Japan. Mako Ito, Mizuki, Natsumi Maki, Hyper Misano, Nodoka Tenma, Yuki Aino, Yuki Kamifuko, Hikari Noah, Raku, and Priscilla Kelly. I know that there's some of you son of a bitches out there like, botch the names. I think I did pretty good. But, hey, I know a lot of you out there are fans of women's wrestling, Japanese women's wrestling to boot. And, that might be something you might want to check out. I definitely recommend you checking out. Something else I definitely recommend you checking out, too, is this week's edition of NWA Power. I watched it. Maybe not one of their best episodes so far. And they did advertise that I think the next 2 weeks, we're not having NWA Power. They're going to bring back the Circle Squared. They're also going to be doing the Super Power Edition, which is going to hype up, I think, like a week before their pay-per-view. Now, I do need to let everybody know this now. I will, unfortunately, and this is just the way schedule is. The NWA pay-per-view is April 18th, I believe. I will be out of New York April 18th. So unfortunately, I will not be able to do an NWA pay-per-view recap for the Crockett Cup that night live. I may do one a day or two later, but I will not be around. I'm just letting everybody know now. Engagement party the week before, then I go celebrate. So real life, unfortunately, does get in the way sometimes. So, but NWA Power this week, we got a new champion, TV champion, Zicky Dice. Zicky beats Ricky. And look, it was a fun match. Didn't go as long as you would think. And Zicky Dice, basically getting the abrupt victory. No cheating for the most part. I've been singing the praise for Zicky Dice for a while. I know some of you out there have not caught on yet with NWA Power. What I say usually online, it's an easy watch. You want to see some okay matches, decent promos, storylines that are easy to understand, nothing too over the top. And even this week, and I had to take the screenshot of this. This week, Aaron Stevens, his promo with the Rock and Roll Express was freaking hilarious. His innuendos, talking about their deaths and the crowd, cheering, and he's like, you people are sick. It was really, really entertaining. Aaron Stevens right now is my favorite guy to watch on NWA Power. The guy is so funny and so quick with his wit. It's a shame that WWE does not give more opportunity to guys. It's like, unless they see someone as heavyweight, main event superstars, you don't see them ever, it's very rare that they ever invest some additional time. I talked about it on Monday, and, I didn't put it as a separate clip. I was going to, but, I didn't. But, actually, I think I did when I was talking about the Matt Hardy stuff. WWE has like 3 tiers of wrestlers you see on TV. And if you're below tier 2, it is almost impossible to get more than maybe a minute or two time on TV. Maybe you get a couple of minutes on a match, but you really, even though it's amazing that you have 3 hours of content and you still, you can't get anybody from tier 3 to tier 2. And it's a shame, because Aaron Stevens is my favorite guy in NWA right now. The guy is so freaking funny, and he's talented, and it's easy. That's what I love about NWA Power. It is an easy watch. Now, there's a little bit of controversy because the Dawsons, they wrestled and they lost the match. They had a stipulation where it was like a last chance match, and the Dawsons lost. C.W. Anderson, I don't remember who C.W. Anderson's partner was. Maybe someone in the chat could remember. And by the way, thank you, Greg Bugatti. In Long Island, from down on Long Island. Oh, okay, all right, Long Island. I don't want you to reveal what part of Long Island, but very cool, very cool. For a very short period of time, I lived in Levittown, and very short period of time. But I have a lot of family out in Long Island, used to hang out in Long Island, used to work in Garden City. So, I was a Long Island boy for quite some time. So very cool, very cool. But, the Dawsons now, because they lost the match, there's a little confusion if the Dawsons are gone. Caleb Conley, thank you, Lion. Caleb Conley. I'll tell you, this is what was a little confusing. You just had the circle squared about wrestlers who haven't gotten contracts yet. I would have liked to have seen, maybe you have C.W. Anderson and Caleb Conway on the circle squared and put in a good effort and let the fans, they were signing them, so let the fans think that they were influential in them getting signed by NWA. And that gives them even more reason to want to feel like they're part of the promotion. That's what I would have done. But the Dawsons, I don't know what's going to happen with them now with NWA. It was a little unclear. You know, they made it sound like this was Caleb Conley and C.W. Anderson's last shot, but because the Dawsons lost, you know, Sonny Ono in Great Muta, that situation, Brian, I'm not going to get into it yet because I know the details. You know, Great Muta was supposed to appear, I think, for GCW, trying to catch me off guard, thinking I don't do my research other than what I write down, huh? No, the story that I heard so far is that Muta was going to come in and work, I think, GCW. And Sonny Ono apparently is involved with this. But basically, they were going to arrange something where I think Muta was going to work other shows too. And GCW, I think, thought that you split the cost to bring him in. You split this, split that. And Sonny Ono basically, I think, screwed over GCW a little bit. And they're not bringing in Muta. I want to, listen, to be honest with you, I want to get more information on that. I want to do some research before I start shitting on Sonny Ono. I will say that I know a few people who have tried to do business with Sonny Ono in the past and were not happy. Let's just put it that way. I don't know if that's the case here, but it sure feels that way. Now, I broke something earlier today online. I don't break things too often, but it was just that I happened to be online. I got a phone call on my cell. So I said, let me tweet it right away. Teddy Hart's back in jail. And if you look online, you know, I was the first one to put it up. This is what I know. And I don't care about being first. I'd rather be right. This is what I know. Go back and look at my YouTube clip where I explained the house incarceration process and how that works in Virginia and everything. Well, something went wrong. And, you know, I know some people are writing that he's not going to be in court again until the end of April and this and that. Well, from what I understand is that they are going to be doing another bail bond hearing for, or I shouldn't say bond, but another court date with Teddy Hart as early as tomorrow. Something happened with his house incarceration. One website reported that he was caught dealing drugs again. Don't believe that. Don't believe that. I did not hear anything of the sort, but from what I understand, don't even believe that. Again, this is really hard to explain because I would have to explain the whole process again. Just watch that video. You understand the whole house incarceration process. The one thing that we were confused about, I could say now, is whose address did he actually use in Virginia? And if you remember that situation, I told you about that other guy that used his mother's address and she didn't approve of it. And the next thing you know, the guy got out and he killed the 13-year-old. I'm not saying Teddy Hart's doing anything like that. The bottom line is he is back in prison as of today. He has another court hearing as early as tomorrow. And apparently something happened with his house incarceration. And they're now trying to determine if he remains in jail with no bail whatsoever, which I think is a little bit harsh in my opinion. But I don't think this goes all the way until April, the end of April. It's very possible that they go to court tomorrow and they say he stays in jail until the end of April. That could happen. But some people are saying his next appearance is not for another month and a half, 2 months. I don't believe that to be true. So we'll get more details, and I'll definitely put them on the next edition of Wednesday Night Dynamite. If I get it before Friday, because I might be doing some Don Tony show on Friday if there's enough to talk about. But you'll definitely, you know what? A lot of people have been telling me to do reaction videos here. You know, it's something I actually got to start getting in the habit of doing. I think I might have only done 1 or 2 so far. So I could always come up here pretty much any day during the week when I get a complete update. I couldn't do one earlier today because I was in the office. And unfortunately in the office, I don't have podcast equipment. Now, I also want to bring this up. Atomic Revolutionary Wrestling. I'm not posting a clip because I don't want to possibly get flagged. Because my opinion of this situation, they're probably not going to like it. And if I play a clip from their show, they'll probably flag it. This is a promotion in Florida. And there was an incident with the Sandman last week. It's on YouTube if you want to watch it. They put up a statement. And I'm going to read you a statement. It's very quick. I'm going to give you my opinion on it because a lot of you out there did want me to comment on this. Atomic Revolutionary Wrestling. On Friday, February 21st, 2020, Atomic Revolutionary Wrestling held our 3-year anniversary show at the Space Coast Convention Center in Cocoa, Florida. Pulling the curtain back to let the world know the original scheduled match of the Sandman versus Shannon Moore versus Chico Adams versus Vertigo for the Atomic Next Level Championship was scheduled to go 12 to 15 minutes. Why they're saying this, I don't know. Oh, I do know, but let me continue. The Sandman was drunk and botched the finish, ending the match in under 3 minutes, and proceeded to grab the microphone and go on a drunken, unscripted rant and try to play matchmaker. In the night, he also called the town Orlando when he was actually in Cocoa, Florida. Aside from the many backstage problems, including sexually harassing some of the women wrestlers and insulting the talent on the card, causing damages to the venue, and nearly getting into a backstage altercation with talent, this is what occurred in the ring in front of the curtain. Unprofessional is an understatement with his drunken behavior. Needless to say, we will never work with the Sandman again. Enjoy. My take on that whole situation? You are pussies. You just revealed this guy was drunk backstage, sexually harassing women, almost getting into fights, causing damage, and you let that motherfucker go back in the ring and wrestle in that main event. That is on you, morons. That is on you, dopes. I don't condone what Sandman did. That's horrible if that's what he did. You don't fucking call the cops. You don't. What did you think? The 37 people that showed up were going to go home? If you got on the mic, say, listen, Sandman was supposed to appear, but he was under no condition. You just revealed on YouTube everything he did backstage. If you would have gone on that mic in that ring that night live and said that very same thing and said, that is why Sandman is not in the main event, everybody would have stood up and applauded you. But instead, you let the guy come out, you let the guy piss drunk in the ring, possibly putting his opponents at risk. The match gets all fucked up. He's on the mic, he embarrasses the promotion, and then you think, oh, he'll never work for us again. Here's the video. You deserve that shit. You deserve that shit. Now you understand why I wasn't going to put the clip, everybody. Because if I would have played that clip, they would have probably flagged it. I don't get these promotions. Have some balls, man. Again, balls on a typewriter. Be balls in fucking real life. Anybody shows up your promotion, look, I can understand. We had no idea Sandman was drunk. He was to himself, and we had no idea, and he came out there, and we realized it was too late. He was already in the ring. But he was sexually harassing women. He was drunk, causing damage, getting into fights. What moron in your promo says, yeah, let him wrestle anyway? I hope that promotion goes out of business. Garbage. Big fuck you. And they think that by putting up the Sandman footage, they're going to embarrass him into fans. You deserve nobody to show up at your events. Pussies. That's my opinion. That guy should have been out the door through the back in a garbage pail, or you call the cops and let him be on live PD in Florida. But instead, no, well, he could stay. You know, he could have the match. Promotions like that don't deserve to be in business. My opinion, just an opinion. Ring of Honor, they have their Gateway to Honor event online on their streaming service, I believe, if you want to go check it out. You know, it was a shame. I went on social media 2 days ago and I said, hey, everybody, if anybody saw Ring of Honor's Gateway to Honor, let me know if it was good, if it was worth me watching, because unfortunately, there's only 24 hours in a day, and I've been very sick since Saturday, and I thought I was getting better Monday, and it got worse as the week is progressing so far. But I'm like, hey, if anybody nobody got back to me. I was like, holy shit. You know, how much time do I dedicate to Ring of Honor on these shows? You know, nobody responded back. But, you know, Roosh is now the champion again, and he defeated PCO. Nick Aldis got involved in the match. You know, from what I heard about the card, I mean, it's a solid card. Brody King, Marty Scurll, Flip Gordon over Jay and Mark Briscoe and Slex. Danny Moff over Alex Shelley. Vincent and Bateman over Silas Young and Josh Woods. Session Moth Martina loses to Angelina Love. Bully Ray over Caprice Coleman. Dalton Castle over Kenny King, Tracy Williams, and Jeff Cobb in a four-corner survival match. Dragon Lee over Dak Draper, not related to John, to retain the Ring of Honor TV title. You had Jay Lethal and Jonathan Gresham retain the tag titles, defeating Bandito and Ray Orris. It was a proving ground match. And in the main event, Roosh defeating PCO and Mark Haskins in a triple threat match to win the Ring of Honor title. It's pretty solid. Nobody, from what I understand, saw it. So, sounds like a solid card. They're going to have their Pure Wrestling Championship tournament, begins Friday, April 10th, so it's a long ways away, so we really don't need to get into too much of that now. But so far, already announced Doug Williams, Jonathan Gresham, Alex Shelley, Rocco Romero, Mark Haskins, Slex, Tracy Williams, and Marty Scurll. For the Ring of Honor Women's World Championship tournament, they already have announced Sumi Sakai, Kellyanne Angelina Love, Katarina, Jenny Rose, Session Moth Martina, and Tasha Steeles, which you might have seen recently in NWA. Wrestle One is a promotion I'm sure some of you have heard of before. They unfortunately are closing their doors permanently April 1st. I don't think it's an April Fool's joke. They began in 2013. You know, not a huge promotion, but they are going to be going out of business. So some of you out there might, be interested in that. And finally, before we get out of here, we've talked about the cancellation of a lot of events in Japan because of the coronavirus. Now, DDT Pro Wrestling have announced the cancellation of their events from now until at minimum this weekend. It may carry over into next week. It's amazing. I'm not bullshitting you. My fiance is sleeping inside. She came to spend the night with me tonight, spending it nicely, as you could see. She came here in a cab, and when I went outside to pay the cab, I got home late, so I couldn't pick her up. The guy was wearing a mask. Just for the hell of it, I went on Amazon earlier, and I looked up hand sanitizer, and the little Purell bottles on Amazon right now, they're supposed to be cracking the shit down. I haven't seen anything in the news about trying to crack down on people price gouging. Little bottle of Purell, $35. It's normally 99 cents on Amazon right now. So, look, coronavirus is nothing to joke around about. And a lot more people die from the flu every year. Unfortunately, some of the people who have died here in the United States from that virus, and sure, we're not going to talk about it here, but I'll make one quick comment. If you notice some of the deaths, if you're looking at closer, these are people who are in poor health already. So if they would have went outside to get the paper wearing nothing but boxer shorts, they possibly could have caught pneumonia and died in a week. You know what I mean? I'm exaggerating. The point is that, be careful. Wash your hands, don't pick your ass and then lick your fingers and this and that. I mean, be a little extra cautious. Keep a bottle of like Lysol or something around, especially if you work in an office. I had a guy come in 2 days ago and he's coughing everywhere. And, as soon as he left, I sprayed the whole freaking office. It smelled like Lysol. But, you just got to be a little extra careful. I mean, we have a better chance of hitting the lottery than dying from the coronavirus. And that's just the God honest truth. But with outside countries, though, it is much more serious. And I'll tell you, again, this show is not about WWE's main Raw and Smackdown. But, I'm curious. I'm curious to see how WrestleMania is handled. Because you have so many countries where people are coming in. And, look, I talked about this last week. My niece went to Italy a couple of weeks ago. She was supposed to stay in Italy for 3 months. She's back in New York because of what's going on. They closed the school. And, when she came back, first thing I said to her is, how'd you get back to New York so quickly? Didn't they, try to detain you or something? She's like, no, they checked and made sure I didn't have a fever. I didn't show any signs of anything, and that was it. She's here. So, but with that many people going to WrestleMania, and it's not just WrestleMania, it's going for the weekend of events, it makes you a little cautious that, all you need is one person to be having this. And you start spreading it like wildfire. So pay close attention to see how this is handled WrestleMania weekend, because the coronavirus is not going to magically disappear in 3 weeks. So I'm very curious to see what happens. But with that, I'm done. We had a great show today. Hopefully we didn't have any technical issues. You know, again, I'm not even doing this 2 months. It's like starting all over. You know, this is just an amazing new challenge, and I appreciate everybody who watches what I do, whether it's live or on the download or, you know, after it's recorded. You know, I try my hardest, and I try to give you my best, even if I don't feel my best. And, you know, I really try to make this show stand out to everybody else. Sure, there's a lot of other podcasters out there that got 3, 5, 10-year head start on YouTube than me. I see some people try to troll me and like, oh, this person has X amount of viewers and you only have this. I'm like, I'm not even on YouTube for 2 months, ever. So I got to build that following, and I got to build your respect and your, you know, your viewing habits. So, you know, it's all new, but it's exciting and it's a lot of fun. And I do want to cover other promotions than WWE. You know, anybody could sound like they're an amazing professional Hall of Fame podcaster because they talk about Raw or SmackDown or old school stuff. You know, I mean, we all do that. And honestly, Mish, he's in the chat right now. What's up, my brother? He'll tell you, like, if we have a night where we really don't have anything to get into, you know, the easiest way to get around it is just talk about the past. Hey, you remember what it's like? There's no research involved. It's a lazy show, but having those conversations once in a while is fun. But, you know, to watch 7, 8, 9 different promotions a week, it's pretty tough. And especially when you hit me questions that I'm not prepared for, you know, that's when you know when someone really is paying attention to everything going on. So, you know, so far so good. And, you know, I'm out of here. So please, if you like the show, please hit a like, because apparently this allows me to get a little bit more exposure. It doesn't cost anything. Before you leave, you could just hit the thumbs up button. Even if you didn't like it, hit the thumbs down. It's whatever you want to do. I would rather hit the thumbs up. And don't forget, you know, there's apparently a setting here on YouTube where you could get notifications when I am streaming clips, because I'm going to start doing those reaction videos that a lot of you have been wanting me to do. And this way you'll be alerted right away when they go down or when they're scheduled. So always feedback. I read everybody's feedback, good or bad. You should know by now that you could approach me. I'm not one of these guys who gets triggered on social media the first time somebody insults them. You know, if you have a criticism and it's not just being a troll, you know, tell me, you know, because, you know, look, Moxley said this belt is your belt. Well, not to steal from him, but this show is your show. I don't do this so I could look back and watch myself and be like, hey, I look pretty good. So I feel like shit right now. But anyway, I'm out of here. I will catch you all again next week. Wow, we've done 24 of these already. It's amazing how time flies. But thank you as always. Much love, everybody. Catch you all again soon. Be well, and nothing but the best. Ciao, everybody.
Don-O-Mite.
It was fun to channel surf. It was kind of hard to do a little pocket pool after hitting the last channel button 50 times for 2 hours plus.
Don-O-Mite.
And his whole idea of overanalyzing, oh, he's an alcoholic and he misplaced the belt. And how could you have someone champion like that? The fuck out of here.
Wednesday night.
Don-O-Mite, you can have fun. You really are.